What's up, Raj? It is Friday. Well, actually, it's September 21st, which is a Thursday. But when I post it on FTVLive.com, it'll be a Friday. So let's call it Friday. Hope you had a good week and you're ready for the weekend. I don't have any plans for this weekend. I got an alert on my phone. Oh, my new credit score is in. You know, when I first started working in TV news, I made, in my first job, I made $15,000 salary per year, and that was at KTUL in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But you got paid overtime, and I would have a scanner. I would sleep with a scanner on and listen for spot news events, and would go running out on any shooting, fire, or whatever. And I would end up making good money, enough money that I bought my first house in Tulsa, Oklahoma, based all off of overtime, because it certainly wasn't based off my salary. Then the second job I took was in the West Palm Beach market. It also paid $15,000. And I remember the news director, Bob Morford, offering me the job, and he says, well, it pays $15,000. And I'm thinking, well, $15,000 is already what I'm making, but it's Florida, so you don't have to pay state income tax. And I even said to Bob Morford at that time, I said, well, yeah, that's okay, because, I plan on getting plenty of overtime. And he just kind of shook his head. Yes. He was like, yeah. I got there. There was no overtime. We worked overtime, but he kind of lied to us and said, if you work overtime, the company only has to pay you half time. So if you're making, $10 an hour, you would only make $5 an hour in your overtime hours. And we were all early 20s sitting there, and we're believing this bullshit that he's shoveling to us. So that was much tougher for me. And I think back then, if I had a credit rating, the lowest credit rating, it looks like the highest credit rating you can have is 850, and the lowest credit rating you can have is 300. I would have thought that my credit rating was probably about 110. That's how bad it was. I was constantly, just manipulating stuff to pay my bills. I would, the electric company would get ready to shut off my power, so I'd run to a pawn shop, pawn some items, enough to pay the electric bill. Then the water would get shut off, and I would go out and actually turn it back on, because you could just do that underneath. And I did that 2 or 3 times, and they said, if you do it again, we'll pull out the meter, and then you're not going to be able to do that. So I finally paid my water bill by pawning off a few more items. And that was, as I said, if I had a credit rating back then, and 300's the lowest, I was a 300. I was probably way below a 300. And now my credit rating, just to show you that you can come back, because my credit rating right now, can you see that? It's 826, which is pretty good. I feel like it should be higher, because I have 2 cars, and my one car, technically, I went to the bank the other day to see what my payoff on it was, and it's only like $1,700, which is awesome. I feel like I've been paying on it forever, but I've always paid early. Like I'll pay, and then I may make another payment in that month. And I asked him, when's my next payment due? And he said February. So that's how far ahead I am on payments in regards to that. And that's what I do. I mean, now my electric bill comes in. If it's $250, I pay $300. My water bill comes in. If it's $30, I pay $40. I always like to have that buffer, just because, especially when you're, an entrepreneur, a solo employee, you don't really have a set schedule. So you might need that buffer. So I like to always pay more. So if for some reason, like taxes come up in April and I got to pay a boatload of money, I can maybe skip a car payment, skip an electrical bill payment, because I got money built up enough to get me through that month where it's going to be a lean month because I gotta lay out so much money. When I buy when I buy equipment, you know, $3,000 computer, it's nice to know that I can skip the payment. So I am here to show you that you can take your credit from literally the basement to over 800, 826. That's my new credit rating. I think that actually went down a couple points. By the way, no Rockstar, no Monster. We're drinking pure water right now as I try and cut back on the caffeine load. I've been doing a pretty good job of that. I'm trying to slowly make some changes. I want to get back to working out much more, which would be compared to right now I'm working out none. So I want to try working out and do more of that. Start eating better. I'm doing pretty good at that. I'm eating a little bit better. I've cut out a lot of caffeine, no more energy drinks. I am drinking iced tea a couple times a day, and I'm not putting any more fake sweetener in there. I used to put in like 6 equals, and it tasted so good. But then reading about equal, it's so bad for you that now I just put lemon in my iced tea, and it's pretty good. And I'm doing the same thing with the water. It's water and lemon, and I probably drank more water in the last couple of weeks than I've drank in the last 3 months. So that's all going good. But, I talked about this on FTV Live earlier this week about, the low pay in TV news. And as I said, it was so low that I was getting, power company was shutting me off, water company was shutting me off. I was going to the pawn shop. And that's why you see so many people now leaving the business. They want out because when I was in the business, I really did get into the business because this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a journalist. It's all I ever really wanted to be. And by wanting to be a journalist, I was willing to accept basically no money to do it. But it's the greatest job in the world. At least it was. When I was a photographer, I could be on the sideline of the Super Bowl, sitting there shooting the game, and the guy behind me paid $10,000 for a ticket. He's behind me, gets $10,000. I'm in front of him getting paid to be there. So it's a pretty awesome job. But now I'm not so sure it's that awesome. And I understand why people are leaving the business. An MMJ now has to be the reporter, has to be the photographer, which there's no question the product suffers. Even if you have the best person out there, the best MMJ, think about, they have to say they roll up onto a hostage situation and they're covering that. Well, one person, when the 2-person crew showed up, the photographer was getting video of the SWAT team that was staging and getting ready to do what they're doing. And the reporters gathering information about what's going on, talking to neighbors, getting all the information. So you could go back and set up and interview those people when the photographer was breaking away. Now, as an MMJ, well, you're shooting or you're gathering. If you're over here gathering information and all of a sudden SWAT breaches the house, you got to run back, get your camera, and try and get that. You've missed the main part of the story. So MMJs are just something they came up with as a cheap way to do TV news. And they're already cheap because they're not paying what they should pay. And now the good people that were in it for the right reasons are all going out. And what you have left are the TikTokers, the Instagram, the selfies, the selfie kings, the selfie queens, that are just there to be on TV. They literally look at themselves like they're a star, like they're a personality. That's not what no real journalist ever looked at themselves like that. When I was a reporter, I never looked at myself like I'm a big star. Here I come. You don't do that. But so many people on TV now just look at it that way, and they don't care that they're paid nothing. They get to feed their ego, and they get paid in ego points. And the good people are leaving, and I totally get it. But TV stations media groups, Nexstar, Tegna, Sinclair, uh, Scripps, they all need to pay much better and stop coming up with ways to use fewer people to put on a newscast. The product suffers. And, you know, consequently, what's happening? Viewers aren't watching TV news. So it's time for these companies to start paying better. Quit telling your shareholders how great you're doing and worry more about your employees, because that's going to be your future. There's a lot of things that you guys need to do. When I'm talking to the media companies, a lot of things you guys need to do to turn around the tide that is taking you out to sea. And the first thing you need to do is you need to pay people better. And if you're going to use MMJs, pay them better. MMJs should not be starting at $38,000, $40,000. MMJs should be paid $75,000 to start. I mean, they're doing the job of two people. That's like paying, a photographer 35, a reporter 40, or a photographer 40 and a reporter 35. They're doing the job of two people. Start the pay at $75,000. Now I'm talking about, the markets. Obviously, bigger market, bigger pay. It's always been that way. I get it. It should be that way. That station makes more money than a smaller station. But pay your people better. For the people that are getting out, I don't blame you, but this business really needs you. It doesn't need the selfie kings and queens. It needs you. So figure out a way that maybe you can pull it off. And don't worry about your credit rating today, because you'll have plenty of time to repair that credit rating. As I said, if I can take my credit from where it was to over 800, you can too. That's my advice for you. I will see you on the next one. Sorry I didn't get a video out earlier this week. Absolutely crazy week. That's it. I'll see you on the next one. Later. Bye.